Hey guys, I don't think it's been too long, but it is currently September 11th, and it's about 6:30 in the evening, and I was out here on the phone, and I was walking around my garden area, and I realized something. Well, one, this watermelon's out because it's gotten, I don't know, something is eating it, and I was just checking the other watermelons. And this guy right here is on a vine that is completely dried. So I'm gonna take this one inside. We're gonna open it up tonight and see what's in it, if it's good at all. But I think what may have happened is when I was doing my trimming, I either trimmed it or the vine just died. Maybe it was my fault, maybe not. But we do have a couple more growing. These definitely won't be big enough to eat before it gets too cold out, but at least we know something else is growing. We have one here that looks okay. We have one here that looks okay. Nothing's wrong with it so far. The biggest one yet. However, I do think this is the one that Ellie told me that when up higher gets looking like this, it's time to pick it. But that one, I don't know what happened to that one. So it's been 2 days since the last clip, and I forgot to mention to you guys that Ellie and I decided to let the cucumbers die. We haven't been watering the cantaloupe in probably over a week, and you can tell. We're still gonna take care of the tomatoes, the watermelon. The jalapenos are growing really well. There's actually quite a few. There's two there, there's another one. There's a tiny one there. It is getting way too late to have any starting cantaloupe, so it would just be a waste. These small watermelons aren't gonna make it either, and I'm not quite sure when this guy's gonna be ready, but I think that's the only one we're gonna be able to actually eat. We haven't tried the one I took inside, though. We just can't seem to get it cut for dinner. There's still a few tomatoes coming in, turning red and stuff. But if anything, we'll just chop this down a little bit, get these out of here. Yeah, there's still quite a few growing, but we haven't really been eating them, so I think we're just gonna let them die. Okay, so evidently somebody wants to cut it without me.
I already cut it.
Well, that's the wrong button. Here we go. Open it up. No, it doesn't look too bad.
No, it doesn't. Smell it.
I mean, it looks a little pink. Oh, that smells good.
It does, Mom. You want to rind like this?
Sure.
Want me to record you?
I mean, I guess.
So, any thoughts?
It's really pink.
Is it good?
There's like not a whole lot of flavor in my opinion.
It's probably not ready.
You should try it.
Please don't record me.
I won't. Go ahead.
Why is the camera moving?
Just go ahead.
Then stop it.
Okay.
It doesn't taste sweet enough.
It's September 30th. I think it's time to pick our watermelon. We picked the last one because the vine it was on was all dead, and so we decided to pick it. But we're thinking it's about time because this one is looking ready to go, and I don't think it's getting any bigger. But the plant is still growing. I honestly don't know why, but we have one growing right here, which looks like the leaves are dying. So that one's probably garbage. This one's growing, but it's pretty mushy. There are plenty of like new vines and little watermelons coming. There's this guy coming in. Plenty of tomatoes still growing, coming in. This guy's looking dead. And this guy's
There's a lot.
producing quite a bit. We have eaten a couple of these,
Hey, look at this one's really good.
but none of them are like the size that we expected. Nothing actually is the size that we
I
expected.
think it's our fault for not fertilizing.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of reasons. All right, here's our only other one that turned out. So let's see. It looks
It
interesting.
looks better than the other one.
Smells like the other one.
Can you try it right now or what?
Yeah.
Sweet seeds. Ew, it's kind of mushy. I think.
I mean, it's definitely better than the other one. I forgot about the seeds. Okay, it's October 4th, and it's getting pretty cool out. I mean, I think next week there might be a couple days that hit 80 degrees, but Ellie and I think the garden's over. The garden's done for the season. I am kind of upset about it because the garden didn't really do as much as we hoped for and what we expected, but I think it is time to say goodbye to the garden here. I'm gonna show you what is left and what are some things that we might end up doing next year. I'm really hoping that I think it'll be better next year. One, because we're not going to be using the tires as planters, as planter boxes. Mainly because I think, one, and I've been saying this for a while, and so I'm just going to repeat myself one more time. The tires themselves probably aren't the problem. I think the problem is that we put too many seeds in the tires. So the small area, in addition to multiple plants, I think there just wasn't enough nutrients that the plants were getting in order to grow and in order to produce a lot of fruit. So I think that's one. I think another thing is we didn't fertilize until very late. So I think that's kind of another reason why most of this didn't produce or produced pretty late. All the jalapenos are not really that big. The watermelon, from recording this clip, I've yet to try the watermelon. But the clip before this one, that is the result of it. But I think that next year we're gonna do something a little different. I think we're still gonna use this area, in this fencing area. I'm not gonna make it any bigger. I don't have any other fencing and I don't have any other posts. Well, I have a few more posts, but I don't have enough to add on to this very much. I also need to find a way to get rid of this big pile of weeds and grass clippings, and I didn't really think it would be this big for actually just one season. So if I keep doing it, it's gonna get bigger and bigger. So we're gonna have to figure something else out. Also, a lot of these clippings I was first doing in the garden, but I just was like, it's not super beneficial in some areas, and I'm not gonna keep adding more and more. And plus, coming spring, when I do work in here, I'm gonna have to go through a pretty thick layer of grass clippings. So that's that. But let me get to this. So next year, instead of having flowers in these, which we still can do, it's not a bad idea actually, but we're gonna plant flowers on the outside around the perimeter of the garden. And I think we're gonna do that for one big reason. The amount of bees I've seen that went on these cosmos, I was actually really surprised. And the last time I went out here when we picked the watermelon, there were still some bees. So I'm really happy to see that. They just popped up really late in the season because one, we planted pretty late, because the lavender that we planted didn't pop up at all. And I think that has to do with the size of space that we have for that. I also think that even if we went with cosmos, we can still go around the perimeter. That way the inside of it is just for the garden. The other thing is we never actually got like a trellis or some sort of cage for this. And I think that was another problem, because this one down here, I mean, they're both kind of falling over. So yeah, But one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick whatever I can pick out of these, including the jalapenos. But all of the watermelon, these are all starting to die too, so this one seems to be being pecked. So none of these are growing anymore, so I'm gonna tear them all out. And we only really got one watermelon. I'm not even sure if it's a good watermelon, so we'll see about that. And then the jalapenos, I'm actually really surprised at how many popped up after we fertilized. So I think next year jalapenos will be beneficial. And these are actually pretty good. They are spicy. We've used several of them in some recipes, so that's good. But yeah, so next year, I think we're gonna try to stick with going in ground and kind of just having, maybe not really like, I mean, I can see doing watermelon in the corner and letting it grow out this way, or putting it right here and letting it grow all the way around. But I think we might do cantaloupe and watermelon again. I really, really like cantaloupe, but I can give the cantaloupe up in order to have some other plants and in order to give this one a little bit more space. But I really think that these are going to be a lot better next year, regardless of which plants or food that we grow. Even if we do use the same exact seeds, I think it'll be all okay. So with that being said, sadly, this will be the end of the gardening series for this season. I could let it still grow and still water it, but obviously nothing else but the tomatoes and jalapenos are going to be producing, and it's kind of just a waste because we're not really using it as much and we're not getting enough tomatoes to actually use in one recipe. But the jalapenos are pretty good, so oh well. Anyways, let me know in the comments below if you have any tips, if you're, either a professional gardener or you have your own garden for several years. I think it'd be really cool to see what your input is on all of this. But yeah, I think that'll be it. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to smack that like button as hard as you can. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on post notifications, and it'll help me out a lot. And I'll see you guys, actually, I'll just see you next year.